Hi, welcome to another week of crazy cosmic energies in our lifetime. So we're here at the Love and Science channel, and we welcome to the show, the cosmic energy update for April 30th through May 6th, actually. And I'm saying that, and it's really funny because yesterday my partner and I were talking about the thumbnail, and I kept going back and forth between the 5th and the 6th. And now I know that I was wrong last night when I said the 5th, but that is kind of the energy right now. I don't know about anybody else, but like I'm super glitchy these days. And the Pisces, like this like car pile up in Pisces that's happening. The Pisces moon last week felt like never ending. And it's the energy is really heavy some days, and then the energy lightens up for a little bit. And it's such a roller coaster ride that it's really important to make sure that you're staying focused on what the goal is. And, we've been talking about that, most of this year already. And, it's so true that reminding yourself, like bringing yourself back to the present moment and reminding yourself of what's going on right now is so incredibly important right now. There's a lot of changes happening. So I'm doing this video Friday morning, the day that the video is usually published. And usually I get the video done a couple of days before the published date, but we're moving this weekend and just all sorts of things. So, and the glitchiness, the technology problems. And I know that I'm not the only one that's having technical issues right now. So, but yeah, so the eclipse is tomorrow. And the Taurus eclipse is tomorrow. And, we're going to talk about that and how beneficial it can be as long as you're allowing the change to happen. And now Taurus is that really fixed energy, so it's a little difficult to change. But as we move into the week, Jupiter and Pluto will have this sextile happening where they're working together on some things. Now Pluto's retrograde though. So we want to pay attention to the changes that we're making right now. And we want to pay attention to not being like, it's very easy to not be realistic about things. And it's very easy to stray. There's a healthy amount of idealism and realism that we all need to kind of come into a balance with. I'm a Libra rising, so I'm going to forever be talking about balance in our lives. But when we're, out doing our ventures, some of us are a little bit too realistic about things and we never let things change. And some of us are a little bit too idealistic about things and we're just like throwing caution to the wind and it doesn't matter. And neither one of them is wrong, but coming together in a healthy balance of having both of them, that's where real change can happen. And that's where the possibility of change can be birthed from. And that's what this Jupiter sextile Pluto experience for us this week really is going to be creating for us. So, and there were going to be some things happening, but man, the energy is, the cosmos are ripe for change right now. And so if you're really finding it difficult to make the changes in your life and the necessary shifts and things in your life, there are going to be clues for you. I was talking with a dear friend and she was one of my assistants last night. And we were talking about the clues, right? And allowing yourself to pay attention to what the clues actually mean, because sometimes those clues can look like, this big thing of gold, right? This big chunk of gold. And you're like, yes, a golden clue. But if you scratched the surface of that gold, you would find that it's just a piece of cement that somebody painted gold. Right? So really being grounded in the idea of realism and idealism and coming together at a happy medium is going to save a lot of things down the road. So there's also a lot of quick and fast energy going on. And it's easy for accidents to happen. Mercury's in retrograde, you know, or I'm not retrograde yet. It's in pre-shadow retrograde, but it already feels like retrograde. I mean, it's just only been a couple of days. It's been a week, or like 5 days. Mercury has been in pre-shadow retrograde, and it already feels like we're like in the depths of Mercury retrograde already. So let's go day to day and start looking at all of the energies. All right, so we're going to have 2 pages. I will stop at the first page so you guys can take a screenshot. I like to do that so that you can look up the transits yourself as well. And then we'll do it on the second page as well. So April 30th to May 6th, transits. We have Saturday, April 30th. We have a partial solar eclipse in Taurus, and the moon will join Uranus and the North Node also while in Taurus after that eclipse. And then Venus will be conjunct Jupiter in Pisces. So we're going to talk about the benefits. We talked a little bit about it last week. We're going to look at the chart and, you know, kind of get into the depths of why this is a beneficial eclipse. There are ways that it could not be beneficial though. So got to pay attention. Sunday, May 1st, the moon in Taurus will conjoin the North Node and will square Saturn in Aquarius and sextile Neptune in Pisces. And then Venus in Pisces will sextile Pluto in Capricorn. So we just get off of an eclipse that is ruled by an exalted Venus in Pisces. And now this same Venus is going to be sextile Pluto in Capricorn. So there's a lot of emphasis on relationships and money in this coming week, and with this solar eclipse as well. So then we have Monday, May 2nd, the moon in Gemini will conjunct Mercury, and Venus will ingress Aries. Wait until Mars gets into Aries on May 22nd with Venus there as well. And the sun in Taurus begins to make a sextile to Mars in Pisces, and that'll be exact on the 6th. On 5-6, is that, hold on a second, I want to tell you guys whether that's correct. I think that I feel like that was supposed to be the 4th. No, I was right. That's right, exact on the 6th. And this is going to be a really interesting transit too. It's going to help with a lot of creative stuff. So then we have Tuesday, May 3rd, we have the moon in Gemini square Mars in Pisces, sextile Chiron in Aries. Mars in Pisces will sextile Uranus in Taurus. So, and then Jupiter in Pisces, sextile Pluto retrograde in Capricorn. And that Jupiter in Pisces, sextile Pluto retrograde, we're going to start feeling those energies, you know, almost immediately after the eclipse. So it's really kind of Jupiter and Pluto, because, you know, Jupiter, yes, it's a personal planet, but it's still a little bit slower moving than the other personal planets. So because, you know, it takes the energy, it takes longer for the transit to happen. So the energy is spread out for a longer period of time. So we'll probably feel this, you know, the strongest this week, but maybe even started feeling the changes happening, you know, last week or the beginning of last week. And, you know, the changes are going to continue through this coming week or the following week after that too. So this is one of those kind of middle kind of time frame, if you will, transits. It'll last a little bit longer. It's not something like a conjunction, like a sun conjunct Mercury, that cazimi, that energy lasts for like that day. This is an energy that lasts for much longer than that. So go ahead and take your screenshots here. All right, so we have Wednesday, May 4th. The moon will be in Gemini, trine Saturn in Aquarius, square Neptune and Jupiter in Pisces. The sun will be conjunct Uranus all day long in Taurus, and it will be exact the following day on the 5th. That's going to bring a whole bunch of energy. And then we also will have the having all of that Gemini moon energy as well, squaring Saturn and squaring Jupiter. Yeah. So it's squaring Neptune and Jupiter, trining Saturn. It'll be feisty. That'll be a feisty day. Thursday, May 5th, Cancer moon squares Venus and Aries, late night square to Chiron and sextile Uranus. Sun in Taurus, sextile Mars in Pisces, Jupiter at 29 degrees Pisces. We will talk about all of that. Wednesday and Thursday, I feel like Wednesday and Thursday are going to, they can be really aggressive kind of days, really assertive, really aggressive, kind of irritating, frustrated, those kind of energy. So we're going to talk further into why that's the case for those transits. Friday, May 6th, we have the Cancer moon sextile the sun in Taurus, and the Cancer moon will trine Mars and Neptune in Pisces. So things kind of calm down a little bit on Friday. But this week, it's really going to be showing a lot. Go ahead and take your screenshots here. This week is really going to be showing a lot where the Taurus eclipse wants us to make changes in our life. So here we are. Okay. And so we're looking at the Taurus eclipse that will be happening at 3:28 p.m. Saturday. Excuse me. 3:28 p.m. Central Time. So it'll be 4:28 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, Saturday, April 30th. And we have Mercury in Gemini now, and Mercury is in the pre-shadow. So the things that are happening right now may be visited again during Mercury retrograde, or may need to be looked at during Mercury retrograde to like reassess or, stuff like that. So really paying attention to the energy that's going on, what's happening, really watching your step is a huge, huge thing during this time. So we have the sun, of course, here, and then the moon is going to join conjunct Uranus just a couple hours after the solar eclipse happens. So the solar eclipse is ruled by an exalted Venus in Pisces, conjunct Jupiter, also in Pisces, and Jupiter is in his domicile. So that's why this is a really beneficial eclipse. Usually eclipse season is about releasing things and letting things go, and which is still true. It is still true of this eclipse. And if we're going to be honest, the Taurus energy is one of the ones that are more difficult about releasing things and change and acceptance. However, with Uranus in their sign right now, there's been a lot of change and a lot of acceptance and a lot of things that they've had to, and now we have the North Node. So they know, there's this feeling of for all of us, recognizing that change has to happen. It's a part of the evolution process. And so having the moon join with Uranus just hours after the eclipse happens, Venus conjunct Jupiter over here with Neptune. as well. And if you also notice, Venus and Jupiter are only a degree away from sextile with Pluto, where in fact that actually happens this week, where Venus will sextile Pluto and then Jupiter will sextile Pluto. And so this eclipse is the catalyst for the change in your relationships, the catalyst for the change in your environment, the catalyst for change in the way that you work with money, in the way that you're in with your career, and it's your value system overall. And there are so many beautiful things that Venus conjunct Jupiter in Pisces, all of this exalted energy can bring you, but it's also very overwhelming because it's Jupiter and it's Venus, and they're both really outgoing individuals, really outgoing and outspoken. So there can be a lot of overindulgence, and there can be a lot of idealism, and there can be a lot of, falling away from the focus, because, there are things that you want. And a lot of times when we do that, when we put ourselves into an expected fantasy kind of life, or we overinflate ourselves in such a way, and then we become disappointed because our expectations aren't met, that can be a problem. So in this, we are recognizing, first of all, where we need to have our boundaries, because there may be things that other people will expect of us, or other people have expectations of us. And within those expectations, that we may not even know about, right? Like they will find that disappointment. And if they project that disappointment onto you, you'll see the areas of your life that need to change. The eclipse is about removing, this is kind of like, oh my gosh, brain trauma always takes words away from me. Is it tilling the soil? Okay, so when we're in spring, that's the word I want to use, so I'm going to use it. So we're like tilling the soil in the spring, right? So that's what this eclipse is doing. We're digging up the soil, we're tilling the soil, so that with the Venus and Jupiter conjunction, we can see all of the things that we want to have in our lives and the seeds that we want to plant, and, allow ourselves to open up, not just in the box that we grew up in, but broaden our horizons in a lot of ways, and to see that life can be beautiful in different kind of, ways. Can it be really ugly too? Absolutely. And Venus shows that side as well, with envy and jealousy and anger and bitterness and resentfulness and rage. Yes, Venus can be all of those things. But that's why she's justice, because she balances the scales of the love and the beauty and the narcissism. You see, there's, we all can be both sides of those scales, right? So she shows that in a lot of ways. And then Jupiter will amplify that. And so in whatever way that you want to use that Jupiter amplification, whether it's in your toxic ego way, or whether it's in your mindful, aware, I know that I'm expanding and evolving in every moment kind of way, that's really up to you. So really recognizing that you get to change your life right now. You get every opportunity. The universe is given you those moments of existence that are really going to like push you forward right now. And all you have to do is not let your ego get in the way, and not let the way that you were raised, or your belief system, or the expectations that other people have had of you get in the way. This is based on how you value yourself, which is a very Taurus Venusian theme. And having that sextile to Pluto. And then remember that the other side of the eclipse, the Scorpio eclipse that's happening on the 15th and 15th/16th of May, will be giving us the look at whatever house Scorpio is in. So keep in mind, and this eclipse is going to illuminate the relationships that do not bring value to your life. The relationships that are only there to take from you, the relationships that do not respect you. Okay. And it's going to be loud. So keep listening, that's the tilling of the soil. I know it sounds really sweet, and I love getting my hands dirty in Mother Earth. I haven't really been able to do that much in the last couple of years, but I love doing it. So it sounds like so comforting, but you're disrupting Earth. That's what Virgos are, right? It's so funny because, that's what harvesting is. It's disrupting the Earth, and it's, taking out the plants. And yes, we know. All right. So let's move on. Let's go on to Sunday, May 1st. Happy May. Very interesting that we're already in May. Like, wow, I cannot believe how fast this year is going so far. So we have the moon in Taurus, and it's joining the North Node, and it will square Saturn in Aquarius and will sextile Neptune in Pisces. So this is really like, now is the time. Now is the time to start integrating the things that the solar eclipse revealed to you. Now is the time to get really serious about what seeds you want to plant for the future, and the things that you absolutely have to change about some of the things in your life, and broadening your horizons, and recognizing, do I need, where's the balance that I need, looking at all of that as well. This may, and sometimes that looks like rest. Sometimes that looks like you not doing the most. The solar eclipse is going to rock some people's worlds. I know we're talking about how beneficial it is, but even beneficial things, even the most beneficial planets, even the most beneficial positions rock your world in big ways, because it's like, you're not utilizing this planet to its fullest ability. Let me show you how, right? And some people aren't ready for that, or some people weren't prepared for it. So sometimes you need to rest after massive eclipses and changes like this. Venus will sextile Pluto, that is retrograde. So we have, this is a little further in the day. So Venus earlier in the day will sextile Pluto retrograde. So really being deep in the feelings. You have a desire to have relationships that have substance. This is where we want to look into the depths of the souls of other people. Like, that sounds creepy. That I don't mean like being a soul peeping Tom, but no, you want a desire for relationships and stuff. This is also a really good time for you to look at your finances and what is it that needs to be changing for your finances that's going to benefit you. Pluto is all about transformation. And again, this can also be a very jealous kind of time as well. With that Venus, it depends on how you want to utilize this energy, but it's going to be intense, and it's going to be feeling like you're probably drowning in the depths of your emotion. And then Venus will immediately get to that 29th anaretic fated degree, where we really sometimes we have to look at the opposite side of a planet, of like the negative aspects of what that planet is, and not get lost in it, and just see what the lessons of the negative aspects of that planetary transit is, that Venus and Pisces transit is. And Pluto is going to really spark that part. So paying attention, and, this could also be in a lot of ways where people start, the eclipse brings you down. This could really be one of, those things. So just paying attention to your mental status and your physical status, and all of that. Self-care will be huge the day after the eclipse in a big way. And that's Taurus for you, right? So self-care. Jupiter will begin to sextile with Pluto. So we have Jupiter here at 28th degree. So begins the sextile with Pluto at 28th degree. And this is going to be exact on May 3rd, which is Tuesday. And then we'll change a degree on the 5th, change to, Jupiter will go to the 29th degree on the 5th. So, but we'll still be feeling that energy for another couple of weeks. So with a Jupiter sextile, Pluto retrograde, especially because Pluto is retrograde, because once Pluto goes direct again during the shadow period that will be going into 2023, we'll be looking at the changes that we made in our life during this time. So Pluto stops retrograde on October 8th, and anything that goes on between October 8th and I think, gosh, I want to say January of 2023 is when the post shadow period of Pluto ends. But all of the changes that we made while Pluto was retrograde, we're going to have to integrate the changes. We're going to have to really, this is a time where we feel better about making changes in our lives. We don't feel we feel less cautious about making changes in our life when Pluto is retrograde. So putting that, like making sure that you're not placing yourself in positions is a very fated time. And this is really giving you an opportunity to look at all of the experiences again in your past, also to see if any changes needs to be made, or if you are like creating the space to make all of the changes that you need. Any power status that comes up could be used to help others in bigger ways. So if you find yourself in a position of authority or leadership in any way, shape, or form, be sure that you're being that person that other people, I see so often people have power, and this happens a lot. Like when I'm on Twitter, I see a lot of people that have a lot of power in the words that they say, and they can create a really large following. But they're not really nice people. Like you can tell that they're just not genuinely there to help and, be kind of a person there for the people. They're there for their clout, right? And that happens so much in society today, in everywhere, not just on social media, it's everywhere. And so now is really that time to recognize the things that you're doing in your life and how it impacts other people as well, and maybe making changes around that too. But this is pretty exceptional. A lot of changes may happen without much help on your part, these spontaneous shifts. And that's because of the energy that's coming up that we're going to talk about. There's a lot of spontaneous shifts that are going to be happening with this energy in the coming days. And so really meeting them with flexibility, meeting them, allowing yourself to be grounded. There's a lot of room for error. There's a lot of room for frustrations and agitation. And if you're not focusing on, what you need to do and where you're going, then this energy, these shifts and these changes that you weren't expecting could create not such good experiences for you. I was like, man, I really need to hold on to this advice I'm just about to give you guys. Because a lot of times when things unexpectedly happen, I myself can get very easily triggered and frustrated about some things. I've gotten better. The more you work with your emotions and you become a more emotionally mature person and you see things from other perspectives and ways, the easier it is to catch yourself before falling into the trap of getting angry or frustrated or, taking it out on somebody else. So this is going to be one of those times where we really want to watch our tempers too, especially if you've got a lot of fire in your chart, your fire moon sign, maybe. So yeah, these spontaneous shifts, it's so much better to just be flexible, leave room for error. I want you to leave room for error until Mercury gets out of post shadow at the end of June. Okay. Like the third week in June, Mercury comes out of post shadow, and then maybe you can be a little bit more dangerous again. I don't want to worry about anyone. Monday, we have the moon in Gemini joining Mercury. and it'll join Mercury earlier in the day. Everybody's going to be super chatty, probably on Monday. And the funny thing is so Venus also moves into, Venus was at that 29th degree, that anaretic degree on Sunday. So relationships, and now Venus is in Aries, and Venus in Aries is they're a lover and a fighter, and sometimes they like to fight just so they can get the love. That really is, it's honestly, sometimes that's the way it happens. So you might feel a little bit lighter with the moon in Gemini for sure. I think that's it's going to be a welcome shift. So Venus in Aries is a more independent type of lover. Aries reminds us that the relationship we have with ourselves will always be the most important one over the relationships that we have with other people. Because if you can't have a good relationship with yourself, you're not 100% going to have good relationships with other people, because you're going to constantly be trying to find a person to complete you when you already complete yourself. The relationship that you have with yourself already completes you, and then just having a partner. And it's not that I think that people are supposed to be single. I think that everybody is supposed to be partnered up, whether it's one partner or 6 partners. I don't care how you love. But I don't think people are supposed to be loners. I really don't. I think that we were built to be community individuals. However, when it comes to building those relationships and having those communities, we have to be aware of who we are and our own trips and downfalls. What's really funny, this will be the second time that I shared this week, but one of the best pieces of advice that I ever got was to remember that I can be really difficult to live with also. And I think that is something that we need to remember when it comes to the relationships that we have in our lives. And this week is going to be showing us a lot about the relationships that we have in our lives, and a lot about how we work with them or how we don't work with them. I've been also indulging myself in watching some trashy reality television. My 12th house Venus loves it, and I cannot help myself. So, and I've been watching the Before the 90 Days, and it's just so obvious when people are forcing the relationship and where the restrictions are, and how many times they force it and force it and force it, when clearly the connection that they're having is something because that other person has, there's a part of that other person that we feel like we need in order to be complete. And that's not the way that goes. So that's not how it works, because then that's the codependency. We depend on the other person to give us the things that we think that we need from them, when in reality, it's all within ourselves. And that's what Aries reminds us. Aries is the warrior. And some people with Venus in Aries are, they are fighting for the cause to be loved, so it's going to be a little bit more tense while Venus is in Aries. When Mars hits Aries, May 22nd, like I said before, it'll get even more, vicious, I think. It'll be interesting. We'll see. Okay. And then the sun in Taurus will also begin to sextile with Mars, like later on in the day too. And it's going to be exact on the 6th. So then we have Tuesday, May 3rd. We'll have the moon in Gemini here, and it will square Mars in Pisces. We'll have the moon in Gemini sextile Chiron in Aries. And we also will have Mars sextile Uranus all day long, and then exact on the 4th. Oh, wow, the thunder is starting. So we have Mars here at the 14th degree, Uranus here at the 14th degree, and so they'll be sextile the entire day. And so this is really going to be the restless and impatient stuff that we were talking about. And with Mars, and then also the sun will be sextile Mars, or sextile Uranus as well, and sextile Mars. I'm sorry. The sun will be conjunct Uranus and sextile Mars as well. So you may be more inclined to seek out like new experiences and wanting to do new things and really wanting to shift. And this is one of those things with the changes in your life. If you feel like you're restricted in any way, shape, or form during this Mars, and it's funny because they're two very docile, like not angry signs, right? We have the sun in Taurus and we have the Mars in Pisces. However, if you make either one of those signs angry, they will freaking explode and you won't even see it coming, right? So this is not a time to test the waters or to try and trigger people on purpose. And the moon in Gemini squaring Mars is just adding some like that air to that fire, right? And I think the saving grace is the fact that they are in some, rather docile signs, but you're going to have different kind of thinking. You may feel a little bit more rushed than you usually are. This is that day where you need to constantly be bringing yourself back to the present moment and being like, I cannot rush through things. I've got to slow down. I've got to slow down, that kind of thing while everything is changing. Jupiter sextile Pluto retrograde exact happening on Tuesday. And like we talked about, we're really going to see what this Jupiter sextile Pluto retrograde, if we chose the right things, if we changed our life in the right ways. And when I say right, I mean right for our path, not morally right. It's not about it's not about what the outside world sees. But also Jupiter sextile Pluto is going to affect the world in a really big way. Something huge is changing. And, I feel like it's going to be in the financials. I feel like, there's this massive inflation that has happened. We have, just so many things. And we've sort of talked about this a little bit in some of the past energy updates, but this Pluto retrograde is going to go back over the degrees again of the United States Pluto return. And then it's going to happen again too. And we saw what happened. The war in Russia started during the United States Pluto return. And then inflation happened. Gas prices went up, food prices went up, now housing prices are going up. Literally we're going to have the United States is going to become like so much more poverty stricken, even more so than it has. Like it's never ending. So something has to change. And this is going to be one of those times that, this is going to be another one of those times where change happens, whether we like it or not, because it has to. It can't keep going the way that it is. It's not getting better. It's getting worse. And it doesn't matter who's in power. This would happen regardless. This would happen. So, and I know that everybody has an opinion about the power part, but completely like, let's just be real that, there is not a man on earth that is going to stop the flow of what the universe wants to happen, period. So doesn't matter who's in power. Wednesday, I'll say some controversial things sometimes. Wednesday, let's take a look at it. May 4th. Oh my gosh. The joke. May the 4th be with you. Get it? Start. Okay. Moon in Gemini, trine Saturn. I'm actually a stand-up comedian at home all the time. That's something that most people don't know about me. I tell jokes a lot to my partner and I'm a comedian, I guess. Moon in Gemini, I'll keep my day job though. Trine Saturn, square Neptune, square Jupiter. Man, this moon in Gemini is creating some things. There's going to be an evening ingress to Cancer and a late night square to Venus with that Cancer. So I feel like with the moon in Gemini, square Neptune and square Jupiter, everybody's going to be a little bit squirrely, like just restless. Like they feel like they're going to be coming undone. Like, when your skin crawls, that's what I feel like Wednesday is going to feel like, is when your skin is crawling, not in a good way. And it's just restless energy. We want to go, we want to do, we want to get out and this and that and all of these things. The sun will be conjunct Uranus all day long, exact on the 5th. So we have the moon in Gemini here, square all of this business here in Neptune. We have the sun conjunct Uranus all day and exact on Thursday, the 5th. You may surprise yourself. You may not want to work. You may not want to do the things that you're supposed to responsibly do. You may find that you want to switch your schedule around. You also may find that, like, for some people like me, on days like this, I am so mentally stimulated that all I want to do is look at astrology charts all day long. Everybody else is like, you need to get out and like do all the physical fun things and this and that and all those stuff. And I'm like, no, I am going to just look at the astrology charts, and that's it. So some people may get frustrated in this energy because most people don't like their daily routines to be changed. Most people don't like it, and that's the thing, is with anything that has to do with Uranus, there will be sudden changes that we don't have any control over, right? And so when the sun is conjunct Uranus, this is really about about us on a personal level. And so again, if we need to be making changes in our life, we still have this Jupiter sextile Pluto energy over us all week long. If we need to make changes in our life, this is the time. And that's going to help the restless energy. When you are allowing yourself to flow with the natural ways that you're supposed to be going in, instead of restricting yourself into a schedule. And I know a lot of people are like, well, I work, and I get it, and you have to be on a schedule. But those days that you don't have to be on a schedule, throw caution to the wind, let yourself not be on a schedule. This is, a Virgo speaking. So I know that it's possible to be able to do that. Anything that feels like restrictions during this could also be a source of frustrations for you. It's important to keep an open mind, leave lots of room for error with you and with others. We also have Mars in Pisces, sextile Uranus. So even more Uranus action. Mars in Pisces, sextile Uranus. The sun is also sextile Mars. All of these things are happening. So lots more restlessness and impatience could be a thing. You could find yourself being really passive aggressive towards people and in arguments. Watch out when you're driving, please. For the love of everything, watch out when you're driving anywhere. Watch your environment, like where you're stepping, where, if you're, running that day, or you're doing any physical activities or working out at the gym, pay attention to all of your movements, pay attention to everything. You could easily slip up and hurt yourself. I don't want to see anything happen. This can be a day where you can get yourself out of a rut. If you've been feeling stuck, this could be one of those days that sort of pushes you, if this watery energy has been driving you to drink. I hope it's not driving anybody to drink, but it's entirely possible. This could be that day where you sort of are like, I am ready to change things in my life. I don't want things to look the same anymore. That's kind of an extreme part of this day, but it's possible. It could actually happen. You could also feel like the energy is so overwhelming that you want to do nothing and just exist. Seriously. All of this is so much, like everything is going to be a lot. So if all you can do is exist during this, it's probably the best for you. At the end of the day, this week is one of those weeks to just kind of let yourself flow with whatever it is that your body needs, whatever it is that your mind needs, that kind of stuff. Otherwise, you'll probably just get frustrated and not feel very good about it. Thursday, May 5th. So we have the moon in Cancer on Thursday. The moon in Cancer will square Venus, and then at really late at night will square Chiron and sextile Uranus. So, you know, you could be really moody, honestly. It could be like, it could have been like where Wednesday was just so highly charged and really frustrating that Thursday sort of is a moody sort of day. Venus will sextile Mercury. So that can help lighten the mood, but I feel like the Cancer moon is just kind of in a heavy spot right now, especially after, you know, this is like that, like right after the eclipse, you know, kind of feeling. So, but that Venus sextile Mercury, Venus in Aries, sextile Mercury in Gemini, can really spark a lot of creativity and a lot of really passionate moments and a lot of passionate talking. Remember to pay attention to spending money, like how you're spending money and where you're spending your money. You may feel like I don't, for some people, it's the moon energy that you're going to feel. And for other people, it's going to be the planets transiting that you're going to feel. If you have resolved a lot of the deep emotional things that you have been working with, then this day could actually be really, really productive in making, you know, changes in your life. And, you know, even talking with people and talking about your relationships and making plans for the future relationship, the future of your relationship and stuff like that. The sun is conjunct Uranus exact this day and then passes by onto the 15th degree. We also have the sun sextile Mars, which is pretty, it's, you know, from the 4th to the 9th, we've had the sun sextile Mars. So, another way for you to build up energy after, and it's so interesting how this week, it's like, it's such a journey, right? Because we have all of these changes and all of these really, and I don't even know that they're going to be really heavy energies. That's just a lot. It's just really overwhelming, you know, or maybe that is a lot of it, maybe that is heavy for people. But it's not something that is, you have to like really hold on to, right? So allowing yourself to see where you need to shift and pivot and not project the frustrations and the fears of the change. And because that's the biggest thing is when we're changing our lives, there's that fear of, oh my God, what's going to happen? And if you project those fears into the future, absolutely those fears are going to come up and that kind of thing is going to happen. So, you know, Venus sextile Mercury and the sun sextile Mars is kind of giving us a boost, you know, and allowing us to feel it all allows us to open ourselves up to the energy of that boost. That's what the Cancer moon teaches us, allowing us to nurture, allowing us to feel it all allows us to open up to energy that feels good. So this is, you know, the sun sextile Mars is a great time to get things accomplished. Energy is going to be really high, feeling really pleasant. Having faith in yourself. People can do, can be assertive during this energy. Again, it's really where you are with your emotional maturity. People who are not emotionally mature will not know how to deal with this energy. It's going to be more triggering and, you know, kind of just feeling like rushed. They'll feel like rushed, or they'll feel like they're never going to get anything done, or that they have this kind of pressure on them, you know, to do things. So yeah. And then we have Jupiter at the 29th degree later on, a little bit later on in the day. Let's go just a little bit. Here we go. Jupiter at the 29th degree in Pisces. And this is the degree of fate. So really be careful of any kind of overindulging in any substances, like any mind altering substances. Don't overindulge yourself. Just be careful with drugs. If you're going to do drugs, please be careful during this time. Don't do any harmful activities to yourself. What I would actually suggest during the anaretic degree of Jupiter in Pisces is to pamper yourself. Pisces rules the feet. Give yourself like a foot massage or a foot rub or, something like that. Or allow yourself to meditate, allow yourself to get into spiritual practices, but, and grounding yourself and centering yourself. But you can easily overindulge in drinking and doing drugs and spending money and having to, just whatever addictions, right? Whatever kind of addiction you can think of, you can really overindulge with that 29th degree of Jupiter. And it'll be at that 29th degree until Jupiter's in Aries on the 11th. So we have about 2 weeks of Jupiter not 2 weeks. We have 6 days from, we have 6 days from when Jupiter gets at that 29th degree. At least I can laugh at myself. And then we will, so during those 6 days, pay attention. Wow, the thunder just got louder. Friday, May 6th, we have, this is an hour, not a day. Friday, May 6th, we have the moon in Cancer, sextile the sun, trine Mars, trine Neptune. Very creative day. Watch your mood swings. You can use this day to your, really to your advantage. This may also be during the Cancer moon, you may find yourself like emotionally cleansing what came up during the Taurus solar eclipse, to be quite honest. It could be one of those things where you're really like, oh, wow, this is all the stuff I need to let go of, right? This is going to be like that kind of moon phase where you really just want to release stuff and let go of things. So Venus Day, Friday, Venus Day, May 6th, may be kind of an emotional day. So moral of the story, let's just summarize really quick. Lots of changes are happening. That Taurus solar eclipse is showing us where we need to make the ground a little bit more fertile and, rustle it up a little bit to make room to plant new things and plant new seeds in our life. And the energy following that, especially until about Thursday, is supporting all of the changes that we're making. And so the more that we allow ourselves to open up to those changes, the easier that this is all going to get for us. Is it going to be easy? No, it's not going to be easy. But man, I already know what's changing in my life. And I'm really excited about it. And has it been easy? No. There's a lot of emotions around it, but it's, it's exciting and I'm ready for it. My soul is ready for it. So I hope that the changes that are happening in your life, you feel the same about. And if you don't, try and look at it from a different perspective and let yourself see it from a, future blessing instead of a present curse, if you will. I love you guys. I hope you take care of yourselves and I will see you real soon. Thanks for hanging out with me. Bye.